Awards in our industry are a funny thing. They've been going around forever, and there are some awards that I won't name, but some awards, in my opinion, that are just not worth the paper they're written on. But these are normally the bigger ones, and it seems to be that the creativity of that is kind of lost in the fact that it normally is awarded to a big international agency who then become the judging panel for the next year's. Now, I don't know whether that's a coincidence or not, but we don't enter those ones. We will enter competitions when we think it's based on the real creativity, where it's based on true merit, where it's based on somebody looks at that and goes, you know what, that's good, or it's got great return on investment figures. So it's actually proved to make a difference to the client rather than like high fashion. So, for instance, if I put an analogy, you imagine the catwalk in Paris at the Paris Fashion Show. You see some of those people walking down those Paris Fashion Show catwalks, and you look at them and think, if you walked down the street where I live, you wouldn't be walking when you got to the end of the street. You know, you just think that's not high fashion. But the funny thing is, high fashion, it's right next door. Literally, it's a hair's breadth away, a fag paper away from looking like a dickhead. So some of the design that you see is a hair's breadth away from just because somebody thinks it's a good idea. What we deal in is real stuff for real clients that makes a real difference. And if you get awards for having real stuff for real clients that make a real difference, bang on, we'll have that all day long. Um, okay, starting a design project is actually pretty straightforward, but we do it in a way that I firmly believe is the right way. And I think we're quite unusual because number one, we sit and talk to the customer and we'll talk to them and we'll ask them questions. But we'll ask them questions and play the idiot. I'm pretty good at that. So I can play the idiot with anybody and I'll ask them a question. But I'm also quite confident in the sense that if they give me an answer that's like speaking to a politician and they're giving me marketing speak and babble that actually means naff all, I'll pick it apart and go, what do you actually mean by that? Because unless we understand what they want to achieve and where they're going, then how can we do anything? So before you even start, you've got to interrogate the customer, you've got to interrogate the job, you've got to scratch the surface of the project to understand what on earth is required. So that's item number one. Dig, and keep digging, but play the idiot. Item number two, weirdly enough, I've nearly always got one of these with me. Item number two is these things. Now, it could be a pen, but you draw, you scribble, you use pen, you use paper, you sketch out an idea. You don't go to a mouse. You don't go to a laptop with a trackpad. You don't go to iStock Photo to find something that somebody's already done. You sit there and you think, what could solve that for that client? And you try and think out the box. And do you know what? If you think about it for enough time and you have a laugh about it and you try and enjoy it, you get an idea that you should just scribble, just scribble, just scribble. The amount of times I've done a job where I've just scribbled away from that worst thing, which is the white piece of paper, and then something happens, and you go, oh, that could work, and then you work on that one, and you go, oh, that could go into oh, and all of a sudden you've got a solution. This happened to me this morning. I was in a meeting this morning, and I scribbled a thought, and it's now got legs. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah, watch this space. Designers, designers inherently just ain't business people. Generally, we're as a collective group of people, we're creatives. We are rubbish at running a business. You'll see industry littered with graphic design companies and design and marketing companies that start up and then within 18 months they're gone because not because they're bad at their job, because they're bad at running a business, and there's loads of them. We're in year 33 now, so I think the phrase I commonly use is we're over the worst. We've got a business structure, so ours is structured like a business, and that's boring, but you have to do it. You've got to know your numbers. So we're creative, but we've got business sense, which puts us in quite a unique position, certainly in Staffordshire, and probably nationally there aren't many that like us that do it. You've got the big boys, they've been around for 20, 30 years, but we are quite a small operation. We're a boutique design company, but we punch above our weight. You know, we compete with the big boys when it comes to doing it right, but we don't charge anything like the big boys when it comes to doing it right. And you deal with the people that are doing it. not a myriad of different suits. So business and designers, normally the two don't go hand in hand, but when you find one, you found